So you have decided to create your own blog, and I'm sure by now you must have done some research about how to start a blog, how to create a blog. And if you search online about creating a blog, I'm sure you by now have encountered CMSs like WordPress or maybe Joomla, and I'm sure by now you have already seen different online platforms where you can create a blog easily. And let us say if you think about creating a blog in WordPress, then you can always go to WordPress site and you can try their free blog option. And after trying for a couple of days, and after, of course, looking at various fancy themes, by now you must be fantasizing about your future blog. And you also realize that WordPress also has this paid version. You can also use custom domains, and you can actually get a lot of other features. Now, there is nothing wrong in using WordPress or these CMS, but I think you should ask yourself in the beginning when you are trying to start a blog, why do you want to start a blog? So blog can be used for different purposes. Maybe you want to start a blog to share or keep track of your activities, a date wise activity, or maybe you just want to share your thoughts and you want to write articles. Now, I have a very simple suggestion for you. People who are coming to your blog for looking at your content, for reading your content, they don't care about those fancy images or the way you format your blog. They care mostly about the content and content only. Now, it doesn't mean that you make this ugly blog where you have absolutely no formatting, although I don't really mind it because I want to read the blog, I want to read the content, but you can have like a little bit of formatting. Of course, it makes it much more easier, but you should do only that much formatting that makes or improves the readability of your blog. Now, today I want to talk about if you are thinking of starting a blog, why not create a simple HTML page and maintain your blog yourself? Now, the good thing about creating a website these days that, or no, not in fact these days, but ever since the beginning, that creating a website is actually very simple. All you need to do, you need to create a folder on your computer, create a file called index.html. That would be your home page. Now, any further links that you create, let us say if you want to create a blog today about how to create a blog, you can create a file called how to create a blog.html and just to link it to your homepage with a listing of all these blogs that you will be writing. Now, why I'm talking about creating a simple blog? Now, it has different benefits. First of all, it is simple. When you have this simple blog in HTML or, of course, very limited formatting, of course, you need to learn HTML a bit. It is not difficult. You can, I guarantee that you can learn HTML in a couple of hours. If you have no previous experience, even then you can do it. Uh, so when you create a blog using HTML, it is simple, and all you need to do then is you need to buy a domain and maybe a very cheap hosting. So whenever you buy a domain, you can also buy, let us say, a cheap hosting along with it, and just upload the folder, the folder that you have on that particular server, and you will then have a blog, a fully functional blog that you can share with everyone. Now, in the beginning, just create a simple HTML file, or maybe do some basic formatting. Like, for example, if you are writing some HTML, maybe you want to make something as bold or maybe italics, or maybe you want to create headers. So you can definitely do that in simple HTML, but later on you can learn a bit of CSS, which is nothing but a way to add a style to your blog, and it of course makes maintaining a blog much more easier. And this is you can do in the beginning. Now, when you have a simple blog, you have other advantages. First of all, you're focused first of all only on the content, because uh, you will come to know eventually whether you like doing blogging, or maybe people are giving you good feedback about the blog. On your blog, you can have some information about what you do, and you can have a about us page, you can have your contact details, maybe you want to leave your Twitter, Facebook handles. So people will contact you if they have a feedback, and in the beginning you will just focus on the content, and you will get a taste of whether you can do blogging or not. Later on, of course, you can add a bit of style, but if you have a simple blog, it is easier to also read on a mobile device. That is, of course, one of the biggest advantage that I find, because if you create a simple HTML file, it will work wonderfully well in any device. Maybe you don't have to worry about the browser compatibility. You don't have to worry about whether people can read it on mobile or not. These days, people use mobile phones only, mostly for reading or consuming content. And if you want to go further in future, you can then take a look at some designs, some themes. If you do a Google search, you will come to know about some ready-made designs that you can use, and those will of course expect you to know HTML. So all I'm saying is that if you know how to do simple HTML, you will be more comfortable in future to maintain and to make changes to your blog. And of course, if you think later on your blog grows, and maybe you think you need to add some features where maybe you want to do some fancy stuff, then you can definitely use WordPress. WordPress is, of course, a content management system. It is database driven. Or you can use Drupal, or you can ask maybe someone to develop it for you. But in the beginning, I think if you just want to start a blog, start with a simple blog. That is how I started. Of course, I moved to Drupal, and I also have a blog where I just use simple HTML, because I don't really care about other features. I just want to, have a place where I can share something with everyone. So starting a blog doesn't mean, using WordPress, using Drupal, using those online platforms. Starting a blog is all about creating a simple HTML file and uploading it. Now there are, of course, simple ways of doing it. You can do it on your local computer, on a folder. Just do whatever you want to do, and you can upload the whole folder on a server. And you can also you can also actually host your site for free. So if you go to GitLab website, you can actually host your site for free. I also made a video on this topic where I of course talked about hosting a site on GitLab, but of course I was using org mode in Emacs. If you're not comfortable using Emacs in org mode, of course, you don't have to use it, but the whole idea is to maintain your site using Git, and because of course you should be using it, and at the same time when you're using GitLab, you can publish it as well. So you have, these days a lot of options for hosting your site for free without even spending money for hosting. Of course, you need to have a domain. Domain names are really cheap, but again, I'm emphasizing, I'm saying this again and again. I'm emphasizing it several times, that you should focus on the content only, and learning simple HTML won't really harm you. So this is all I wanted to share in this video. I hope you enjoyed watching this video and you learned something new today. Thank you very much.